One, two, one, two. I think we are good to go. So, how is everyone doing? Welcome along to the first live stream here on the Guitar Code channel. My name's Dave. I'm sure some of you have seen me from the tutorials here on this channel. And today I'm going live with some tips and insights as to why guitarists out there find guitar challenging nowadays. So, before I begin, I want to say thanks so much for joining me. And if you have any questions at all, post them in the comments below or on the chat at the side. And there is also going to be a handout at the end. So I do have my notepad here, my trusty Apple Pencil. So if you want to grab the notes after this, there'll be a chance for you to do so. So without further ado, make sure you ask any questions you want answered. I do have 2 or 3 that I'm going to address that I did receive via email before this live stream. So the first thing is, number one, here's what's going on. A lot of players nowadays, we live in a wealth of information, a wealth of videos, a wealth of anything you could ever want on guitar. But players are still struggling so badly with things like technique, things that I've been teaching 18 years, and things that I remember players talking about before YouTube was even a thing. So basically, I'm going to cover some things on that today. And all 7 tips work together. All these strategies work so well, but they only work when you apply all of them. We'll be working on applying one at a time, but definitely aim to implement all 7 into your playing. So, before I get into the first strategy, what I want to share is where this came from. Like my own story here, learning guitar, I was 12 and I was learning guitar off Ultimate Guitar back in 2001. YouTube wasn't a thing. In Ireland anyways, you had to pay for every minute you were on the internet. And I used to go on in the evenings, and I remember the night. I remember opening up Google and it was on an old compact Presario computer, if any out there remember those. And I went through it and I just typed, I don't know, I just thought, I was like, this Google, you can search anything. So I typed in chords and I entered the name. I forget what song it was. I remember Paranoid by Black Sabbath being the first guitar tab I ever researched on the internet. And so let's say in that case, I searched up Black Sabbath, Paranoid, chords. And next thing, this site came up, Ultimate Guitar. Now, as a site, it isn't the most modern day sleek looking site, but you can imagine how it looked back then. So basically what happened was I was there at the age of 12 with my guitar in my lap, and I'd pull it up. And back then there wasn't even tabs. I'd open up a browser, and if I wanted to save multiple tabs or multiple instances of Ultimate Guitar, I'd have to open loads of browsers and the RAM on the computer would be burning up. So I basically had the tab in front of me and I was staring at it and I was like, what is this? It says it's the notes. And I looked up another song and another song and another song and all these little errors and all these things that seriously, it cost me so much time. I'm going to share with you tonight how you can save yourself that time. And I know we're in the age of YouTube. However, a lot of the same stuff is cropping up for so many players. So I really want to help you with it. Now, here's what happened. The first thing that popped up when I looked up the song was, first of all, I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't too sure how to retab. I wasn't too sure what it sounded like. I didn't know what fingers to use on the tab. I didn't know what that specific chord was. I didn't know, even if I understood of it, I didn't know how to practice it, how to break it down, how to make it work. So what I'll do here tonight is I'm going to share things around that area as well. That is in one of the strategies. So what ended up happening was, I remember the hallway from my bedroom to the kitchen is quite short in my parents' house, and I remember walking from that bedroom down to the kitchen, and I sat down on the couch and I was like, that website has any song I looked up, it was on it. I was like, how? This is the age of buying books. And I was there going, how can I figure out how to use this thing? Because I didn't know. Now, I was super lucky. I had, to me, one of the best guitar teachers in the universe. Like, I looked up to this guy so much, and I still do. And I used to go to his lesson, and I'd be like, hey, I was at this song, I found it online, da-da-da-dum. And he'd basically point out the technique errors I had. He'd explain anything that I was unsure of, and anything that I had practiced that I wasn't making any further progress, he'd show me the error of my ways, and he'd rearrange a bit, and then I'd go back at it and I'd get past that little wall. So I was super lucky to have somebody like that I could go to and ask questions of. Now, the reality is nowadays, for people to get private lessons, not everybody can get private lessons, and that's why so many people learn off YouTube. Now, I want to say that if you have any questions tonight on guitar, or any questions to do with this whole thing I'm about to teach, ask. I do have, that is my email, okay? These are homemade notes, wouldn't you know? Dave@guitarcode.com. Shoot me a message, ask me. Towards the end of this, I am going to bring up 2 or 3 really good questions I was asked by players via email in the past week alone. So, at the end of the whole Ultimate Guitar thing, I was coming out of it and I figured out how to work it. I was taught what to look out for. And as time goes on, I started really honing in on my own technique for learning songs, because I used to keep a list of songs I wanted to learn. And I had a list of around 30 songs. And what happened was, I remember the night I was staring at this list going, cool, so if I learn like 1 song a week, that's 30 weeks I'll spend trying to play these songs. And I was finding songs everywhere. Like, I kept writing this extra long list. So I knew I had to do something. I had to find a way to find the songs as accurate as possible, to figure out how to correct any errors, to figure out how to break them down and practice them, to get them to the performance phase as quickly as possible. So I'm going to share that with you tonight. It's going to amplify your own voice on guitar. It's going to help you speed up your progress and help you stop wasting time messing about with some of the same errors that are holding players back. So let's get into it. Here's the deal. The first strategy. Number 1. It's simply called sort your songs. Now, here's what I mean by that. Sort your songs. I'm basically talking about categorizing your songs so they're easier to understand. The problem nowadays is players tend to look at their songs and they tend to, it's all or nothing. They're like, I can't play this song. I can kind of do this song, but it's not working. And they have this either things I can play or things I can't play category going on. Now with this approach, what I'd like to encourage you to do is the following. I'd put them into groups. I'd separate them into 3 brackets. Okay, the first one is quite simple. The first one is basically, and I'll do this, yes, okay, getting nifty with the deck, right. So the first one are easy songs. They're like ones you can do instantly. Okay, those are the ones that make us super happy. And categorize them, recognize them, write them down, categorize them, and just accept that you'll get them quicker. And because of that, you mightn't learn so much, but it'll feel good to get it working. Now, number 2 is it will take about a week to a month. Those songs are the more ones that sometimes we play and we're like, this song is driving me nuts, but I'm going to get it. We have a big why. Now the third one then is quite simple. The third one are long term. These, I'm not even putting a smiley face in here. I'm putting question marks. We don't even know how long it's going to take. Those are the ones that players tend to look at the most, and especially if you're into, I know there's a lot of Shawn Mendes fans on this channel, and some of the Shawn Mendes stuff is super technical and tricky to pull off. And whether you're strumming stitches, which is open chords and an offbeat rhythm, but then if you go at Lost in Japan, like that one can take so much longer, and sometimes we can kind of get frustrated, lose our motivation, and kind of give up on it, and this muscle of kind of not finishing songs then can begin to form. So that's basically what we're talking about. Number one, sort your songs out. Why? Because it will manage your expectations. It will help you to put extra focus and extra effort into the proper things that need it. Now, number two is as follows. We got to sort quality from the get-go. Okay, what am I talking about? What I'm basically talking about is as follows. I'm saying that you could pick an easy song that is really easy, but if you look up a tutorial online that makes it look super complicated or contains missing information or is inaccurate, well, that means it won't be easy. That means it's going to be like super hard. And when it's super hard then, now it's in the hard category, even though it's meant to be easy, and then we get confused. We're kind of looking about, wondering what to do. So, where do you source your material? Now, this isn't where I'm going to be like, this channel contains everything. It doesn't. There's only so many hours in the day. I can only transcribe and tab out so many songs. And the reality is, there's loads of great guitar channels out there. Like, I have watched videos belonging to the Groovy Guitar Dude. I've watched videos belonging to Andy Guitar, Justin Guitar, Marty Music, Guitar Zero to Hero, Paul David's, more the creative side. But like, there are so many brilliant channels, and I'm not even mentioning the thousands of guitar channels that are thriving on YouTube as well that you could find. But my real goal for you here is that you sort quality from the get-go. So here's the deal. That comes from searching properly with proper search terms. Use words such as easy, step by step, beginner, or if you want hard, you could do tab, you could do accurate. Accurate is a big one. No capo. You could do tab on screen. Those tend to have less teaching in it than the ones that have like the full-on breakdown of the tab. So basically, like if you're looking for a challenge, like look up stuff like accurate, look up no capo, look up bar chords, power chords, a bit more on power chords in a while. So you're kind of setting the frame then. You find them. So, and when you find them in search results then, basically go through and dip in and see what seems doable and what doesn't, and pay attention to the other comments. If there are millions of people finding it tricky, it's a sign that the lesson could have been made easier. Okay, so that's number three. Number two. I need to, counting is hard sometimes for me. So number three is keep a playing journal. Okay, here's the deal. When I was learning guitar first, I kept a copy, not a copy of like what I was doing in lessons, because I was given sheets in lessons, and I kept a folder for that. And by the way, I still have my guitar folder that I had when I was 12. Like, I have all my sheets apart from one Queen song that I lost, I Want to Break Free. So I kept all my notes, right? And these, they're priceless to me. And I also kept a playing journal. So I didn't call it a journal at the time, but that's what it really was. I kept a list of songs I wanted to learn. I kept tabs on what songs I was progressing in and what songs I was like Iron Maiden. If you've listened to Iron Maiden and you're beginning guitar, like it's some crazy stuff. And I'd keep a list and I'd go, right, okay, Iron Maiden, I'm going to have to like put you on the back burner for a while, and I'll go add a few more open chord songs and things like that. I also kept a list of where I'd find things. So like, for example, your tools and tips and resources for online nowadays. Like, I used to write people's names. I used to feel like, that guy knows how to play that riff. I might ask him at break time if he'd show it to me. But nowadays that could be like YouTube. I'll bookmark this channel. It could be Songster, which is another good tab site, Ultimate Guitar, and things like that. Now, the big thing about keeping a playing journal is you can also review your progress. Why? Anybody have any idea why you'd want to review your progress? If you do, share in the comments. If you don't, that's okay too. Here's the deal. When you review your progress, it can boost clarity. That's how clear you are about your playing. It can boost your confidence, because a lot of the times we're kind of playing around and we're going, yeah, I'm getting better. But it's so different to looking and going, God, it's 27th of January 2022, and on the 1st of January I told myself I'd pick up a guitar, and now I have 4 chords sounding really clear. And then when you look back on this on the 27th of March, you go, man, I didn't even know how to do guitar tab or picking, and now I'm picking this song. That feeling of confidence, that feeling of motivation, I've seen it transform players' lives, because what you play can be primarily driven by how you feel about what you're learning. If you feel good about your progress on guitar, you're going to make more of it. There's no way you can't. So that is number 3, boost clarity and confidence. Number 4, separate the skills from the song. Okay, and this is one of the key points I would encourage you to reach out about. A lot of the times I'll get a question about a song, and it'll be somebody going, I'm having a problem with this song. And they often think it's their playing or it's the song that's the problem. Now, here's the thing. Let's say I'll take Shawn Mendes Stitches, and right? So if somebody's having a problem with that song, it fairly moves. So I might ask them, so how are you with the chord shapes? Now, if you're having a problem with the chord shapes, then obviously you need to go off and get them on quicker. You need to work on your chord changes. You need to work on the clarity of your chords. And then I might go, how's your strumming? So now we're in the rhythm. And is it like, are you using the correct arrows? Is it in time? Have you been playing with the metronome? Is it in time with the chords? Or is it just out of time in general? When you separate it out, now you're kind of laser focused and you're pinpointing what's working and what isn't working, rather than it being the entire song. So, and that's only 2 examples. Like, it could be the offbeat rhythm, it could be one of the specific chords. Are you trying to sing and play with it? Are you trying to play with the record because it's super fast? See what I mean? So like, when you separate out into all those things and you step back from it and you go, do you know what, yeah, it's actually the chords, and you know how to work on it, that can make things a whole lot easier for you. So look at the song you're doing as almost like a Lego building, and then break it down and go, what's this made up of? What chords? What techniques? And then get laser focused and dip into it from there. So that can really, really help things. Now, number 5, ask quality questions. Sorry. Write quality sentences, Dave. So, you know this is life. So ask quality questions. Here's the thing. So let's retrace. So we said that you'd sort your songs out into like easy, a week, month long, and long term. We said sort the quality of your tuition from the get-go. That's done using search terms. So like you'll see there that we got the that section there with the easy step-by-step beginner and everything. Now, all the time, you're keeping a playing journal. And what the playing journal allows you to do is it helps you review your progress. I said, why? Because it's going to help how you feel. It'll boost your clarity so you can get confidence and even fix other things that you mightn't feel so confident about that you'll end up feeling confident about as a result. Then the next thing is you sorted your song quality from the get-go, separate skills from the song. So that's your like chords, that's your strumming, whatever it is, okay? And the next thing then is you ask quality questions about that. And you ask quality questions of yourself, but more importantly of others. When I began guitar, I had my teacher, I had friends who played music, and I had the internet. And the internet wasn't the place as a 12-year-old. I wasn't going to find answers on the internet. But our friends, I'd ask them questions. If they could play something and I couldn't yet, I'd be like, hey, how are you playing it? What fingers are you using? How did you get that fast? How many hours a day do you practice? Did you always play on that guitar? What type of music do you listen to? And when do you practice during the day? Do you do anything else? Like, do you play any other instruments? Like, those quality questions can be asked of anybody, and most of the time people are happy to share. Now, the problem with asking questions on the internet underneath YouTube channels is a lot of the big channels, they've grown so big that the person can't possibly respond to every comment. And if those are the lessons you're looking at, and you're looking for answers to questions about the lesson, you might be lucky if somebody else viewing it answers, but a lot of the times your best bet is to go to somebody and ask them, somebody who might be able to answer and help out. So just to reiterate, seriously, like any questions on anything you're learning, I honestly don't mind if you come to me and you go, hey, I was learning this bar chord lesson off Justin Guitar's video, and how do I do this thing? Like, to me, you're a player with a problem. All I want to do is help. I don't mind where you've seen it. Like, if you haven't seen it someplace else, you'll see it another place. So that's the big thing. Ask quality questions. Now, number 6. Metrics drive motivation and momentum. 3 M's. Now before I get into that, I'm just going to take a drink of water to see do we have any comments. We're all good so far. How's everyone doing? Everyone keeping well? I wonder, is there any way I'm still figuring out the tech? But thanks for tuning in. I see I have some people watching here. So if you want to ask anything, ask away at any time. I'll just grab a water here. Okay. So, metrics drive motivation and momentum. Here's the deal. If I'm a player, and notice the difference in clarity here. So I'm a player who is working on a song, and I say to somebody, actually I'll flip this around, sorry. Somebody comes into me and they're working on a song. And let's just say it's a tough song. I'll make one up. I'll say Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. Savage electric tune. And they come in, we work on the intro riff, and notice the way we broke it down. And we separated the song from the skills, all these things I've talked about, and I've asked them quality questions, and I'm teaching them how to ask themselves quality questions. And next thing, what happens is they come in, and the following week, they come back, and I go, how's the riff going? And how's the picking going? And they go, it's all right. Now you'll notice in that moment that all right doesn't really give us too much information about how it's going. It, like, all right could mean, like, one person's all right could be another person's brilliant, or another person's all right could be or it could be another person's like really bad. So we got these metrics. So here's an example. For you players out there who are learning songs with open chords, let's just say, yeah, my chords aren't fast enough yet. I have problems switching chords. I have, what else? I'm messing around with chord changes. They sound unclear and fuzzy. Okay. Notice this. Here's a goal. Metrics are driven by numbers. My goal is to strum a clear G chord for 1 minute at a time on its own, pressing hard, using my fingers close to the frets, and just focusing on the sound. 1 minute. I do that for 3 days. Once I can consistently do that, I'm going to try and do it for 2 minutes without my fingers like falling off. See the accuracy and how it's a yes or no answer of yourself, whether or not you got that going then. Another one would be you're learning a riff and you're using a metronome. So like, let's say Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz. The one go bum ba ba dun 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 bum ba ba da bum bum. Okay, so here I am going with that, and next thing it's like, well, how fast can I play it? Fast enough. It's not too bad. I can play it at 60 BPM really well. I can play it at 70 BPM. There's a few little mistakes. And I can nearly play it at 80 BPM. See the like linear progression there, and the way you'll always know whether you're getting it or not. So metrics drive motivation and momentum. And lovely, I see we have a question. I'll answer that question. GK Sweetie, I hope I said that okay. I only said after number 7. Thank you for your question. And by the way, if you're the only person asking questions, ask as many as you want. Okay, I'm here to answer questions. So the next thing then is we got number 6, and that's motivation and momentum. Well, the thing about the motivation and momentum is you'll know then if you're on track. You'll know then if you're having trouble. You'll know how much further along you're getting. So the last one then, number 7. Video yourself playing. Has anybody here ever seen X Factor? Or ever seen like American Idol? Or like Britain's Got Talent, Ireland's Got Talent? They're like talent shows. And you know the way, there's like 3 judges. And there's always the nice judge where the person could like not even open their mouth to sing, and the person go, that was amazing, thank you so much, you really sang that from your heart. And like the person didn't even sing. Like you have a judge like that, and then you have the judge in the middle who'll go, yeah, I kind of agree with him, it was really great, just maybe watch this one little thing. And then you have the Simon Cowell judge who's like, who'll tear you apart, who'll just go, no, it was rubbish or something. They'd be very critical, quite critiquing. So here's the deal. We want those 3 types of judge personas in our own playing. And the trick here is you video yourself playing. When you're playing and you're trying to analyze your own playing, you can't objectively properly know. You'll hear things are off, but you're busy thinking about the next thing and playing correctly and this and that. But if you video yourself playing and you sit back and you go, what would I think of this if I was, let's say, a supportive relative? We'll call that off the nice judge. It's really good. And then the one in the middle, the kind of, that's okay. But the one then with the frown. Okay. So, I never studied art, FYI. So, you look at it and you give yourself a bit of confidence first by going, well, I am doing this thing well. I am doing this other thing well. Give yourself 3 or 4 pieces of praise. And then step back a bit more and look at it again and go, yeah, maybe this bit could be a bit better. And then we want to go in for Mr. Critique, right? Look at it and go, okay, seriously, what am I dodging practicing? What do I need to work on? What am I going to work on now? So that next week, when I video myself playing again, I won't let that happen. Videoing yourself playing is one of the biggest things that can help transform your playing. All of the other elements of this, sorting songs, sorting the quality from the get-go, keeping a playing journal, reviewing your progress, separating the skills, asking quality questions, metrics for motivation and momentum. All those things all add up to this moment where you've worked on it, then you're going to play and video yourself. And use your phone, it doesn't matter. And look back on it then, and in your journal, write your notes. There was one time, I'll share this story after I answer this question. So we have a question in. I was asking everybody watching, what's one of your single biggest challenges on guitar, or one of your single biggest frustrations? So thanks so much, GK, for your question. So my biggest challenge is the feeling of not moving forward. I feel stuck. I know more of strumming, but fingerstyle just do me bad. And I guess I don't have enough time maybe. I want to be good enough to play anything I hear. Yeah, okay, cool. I get that, right? So here's the deal. So your biggest challenge is the feeling of not moving forward. Now, if you're still there, can you share, when have you felt that feeling of moving forward before? When was the last time you felt you were moving forward on guitar? If you want to share that. If you don't, it's okay. I'll go with my teacher's instinct. So, feeling stuck. The big thing here is, I'll just share this. Okay, and thanks for your live question. One of my favorite things to do is like answer things live. So, not moving forward. So I'll set up a new note here. Okay. So a lot of the time when we're not moving forward, it's because we're not learning anything new. Not making progress. Or another thing is we're not learning the songs we want. Okay, so here's the thing, or it's often due to a technique. And your goal is to play anything you hear. That is a brilliant goal. Okay, so we'll call that, like, that's the main goal, the overarching goal. Now, like, just to break it down, like this framework, that is a long-term goal, and it is a brilliant long-term goal, seriously. So if we were to break that down, you know strumming, but fingerstyle isn't working so well for you. Now, that's where I go straight away. You've identified it from the big picture thing of wanting to play anything you hear, and the fingerstyle is the problem. So here's what we'll do. So the technique, we'll go to fingerstyle. Hey, thanks so much for your question. That's great. So what country are you from? If you're out there to answer, you might have to go. So, fingerstyle. The first thing I'm going to share is you got to start with the basics. I would not do a song. I would not start with a fingerstyle song. I would focus on exercises. Okay, so just give me 1 sec. I'll grab my guitar. Oh, hopefully I won't disconnect this thing. I left my guitar over here. 1 sec. God almighty, you know this is live. Okay. Now, so, here's the deal. 1, 2, yeah, okay. So looking at it, you see here that we got, sorry. So fingerstyle, like for example, something like this. Okay, cool, you're Zambian, nice one. Reside in Russia, class. I've never been to Russia. It is on my list. So, listen, my friend, here's what you do. Fingerstyle, the technique is, like you see here, look at this hand as I'm playing. And by the way, I do have a video done on this. It went up on the channel about a week or two ago. I'll link it underneath this video. and I basically show you how to set up proper technique to begin, okay? The big thing as well is just stay away from complicated fingerstyle songs. Some of the nice ones are complicated to begin with. So what I do is this. I would just pick some of the chords I'm familiar with, and I just focus on my technique. And you see there, I'm basically just moving my thumb, and then so in that video, that's the exercise I bring you through. And it's not that exciting. It doesn't sound like a really cool song, but what it does is it's getting your fingers very used to the movements you're going to need. And because of that, then you can speed it up over time. And just to touch back in on the point about metrics, when you have your metronome, what you can do then is, like for example, here's one. Many players who want to learn fingerstyle, the very first song they attempt is, what's the word? Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. And there is, I'd say 5 techniques I'd take a player through for a couple of weeks, trying to get them up towards that level. So, you know, just keep an eye on that too. So, we're saying about the fingerstyle. So I'd start off with exercises. So I'll send you a video for that, okay? And by the way, drop me a mail if you're stuck. Some players have emailed me with questions. So now making progress. So that thing there, that would start help you feeling that feeling now of making progress. The big thing would be, you'd be learning something, you'd be getting it, and you'd be moving forward. What I do then is I would listen for some songs that you classify in the easy bracket that you're learning. So you're building up those songs. And you said about playing anything you hear. Yeah, that's a great thing to do. So what you could do is you could play those songs. Your ears will start to develop. There is, I don't know, do you have the app Guitar Tuna? It has an ear training facility on it for chords. I was helping a young child with it lately in a lesson, and oh my God, like when you saw, they began to hear the difference between G, D and C, and I played it myself then off the app, and they could tell what chords were being used. So, you know, there's a lot of great ear training things on that app as well that you could check out. So, let's see. So you said about fingerstyle and time. Yeah, time. Okay, so the time factor, when you don't have to share your age or anything, I'm guessing you're an adult. Like, when it comes to time as an adult, yeah, so many players report trying to find time, make time, use time wisely. So, there we go. I was just trying to practice Nothing Else Matters. Okay, good. my guitar teaching spidey senses are intact. Okay. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. That's such a class song. Just keep an eye out that, okay, break it down. Like, okay, watch this. If I was learning that song, and I can play it like roughly. Now, anybody who is watching this, if you look back earlier on the stream when it's up afterwards, and look at the way that my hand is positioned here. It's the same way as it was positioned when I was doing this. So, GK, when you go through that finger picking lesson I have off my channel, just I'd say spend 10, 15 minutes a day only on that exercise. And just drill it. And you won't be doing it to be able to play it. You're going to do it so that you're going to be able to play it without even thinking. And with the proper technique. Watch out that a lot of players, that you don't go at it and you go, I find this easier and it still works. It makes a sound. But the reality is, for Nothing Else Matters, like trying on. See what I mean? Like that, I got to keep that tight the whole time. Okay? So, I hope that helps. I hope that tip helps you. So, I'll link the video beneath. And time-wise, just to touch in on the time, that's funny, I guess, that nothing else matters. So time-wise, finding time. Okay, so here's the deal. There's a book here. I'm massive into like personal development books. So I've read between 300 and 400 books on productivity and things like that. And they all come into guitar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share with you a bit about time. There was a book I read once. Oh, what was it called again? The Time Trap. Okay. Time Trap book. Now, here's the deal, right? I'm going to just share with you this bit. And how are we doing? Yeah, oh, we're going good. Okay, so if we take your week, now I have no clue what you do or what you work at or anything like that, but everybody, like I was thinking about it lately, I was like, I don't know who said it, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, I don't know who said it, they're like, we all have the same amount of time in a day. And that is kind of crazy. It is kind of absolutely insane in the membrane to think that we have the same amount of time in a day as Jeff Bezos or somebody. You know what I mean? So here's the deal. Whatever time you get up, let's just say if it's 6 a.m., I'm going to guess here, and let's say you go to bed at 10 p.m. Split your day into like 30-minute segments and do this for a week. A lot of players don't know where their time goes. They don't know where it is. Okay, so we got to find it. We got to find out where it goes. So let's just say 6 a.m. and let's just say work starts here, and let's just say portions of your day. Let's do this here. So block out work, block out other things, like if you go to the gym, if you go on, I don't know whatever you do, right? If you go on Netflix, and then start to find, so let's just say if I do this, right? So we'll call this time gone and pencil in the time, right? And all of a sudden then when you step back and do this for 1 week, step back then and you'll find these little segments of time. And when you find that, if you hear howling in the background, that's my dog. She might make an appearance on a future video. So basically step back then, and with that time, look at it realistically and go, how much time can I do per day? And then aim for a bit lower than that. Sometimes we overestimate what we're going to do. Okay, so like for example, do 20 minutes per day. Okay, you said that you're cool with chords. I would completely lean into the thing you want to do. So finger picking exercise. Do the finger picking exercise for like 10 minutes of that. Then do the ear training on the app. I'm gonna have to go soon. This dog, I think, needs to be brought for a walk. Ear trainer, do that for 5 minutes. And then finally, what you do last is play easy stuff. Easy, feel-good songs. That's super important. If you stick with all easy stuff, you won't feel fulfilled. And as you said, not feeling like you're moving forward. If you stick with really hard stuff, again, you'll feel like you're not moving forward. You'll be kind of stuck, not seeing progress. But if you do a bit of each of them, you're going to be moving forward. You'll get the feel-good thing of the easy songs, and you'll be learning more songs. And then you'll be making progress with the hard. All right, so I hope that answers your questions. Brilliant questions, by the way. And yeah, so I'll put this up on screen if anybody wants to screen grab it or anything like that. I'll leave that for a sec. Okay. So I'll leave that there. Now, the other thing I had 1 or 2 more questions via email. And here's the deal. How to do power chords. That was one. So I'll answer that. So how do you do power chords? Basically, power chords for anybody out there, let's say we have our regular chord. Sorry, no, I just love using this thing. It's so handy. Okay. So our power chords look like this. We only use 2 fingers, our index and our ring, our index, or our pinky. Now, when it comes to power chords, the first thing I'd say is just start simple. Watch. So this question came in from somebody via email, somebody who's a beginner, so massive shout out to this guy. And he is working on, he recently commented on a Charlie Putt lesson I had up, and he has bar chords and open chords. He's a beginner, and he's wondering about power chords. So, which Charlie Putt used a lot. Do you know that? I should have stayed at home, but I was in something like that, right? So, when it came to this, right, they're asking about power chords. So, here's the deal. All you got to do to begin, this is the number 1 tip. Get your index on the 3rd fret of E at the top, and notice how my thumb has disappeared. It's gone. Then get your pinky on the 5th fret of A. And what you do then is you do your clear chord check, pick one at a time. Like that. And my thumb is there. If your thumb's up here, watch what happens to my hand. It scrunches. So keep it down here. And then finally, pick index and ring, or thumb and index. And I only pick those 2 strings. Like that. And then relax. Put it back on. Off and back on. And that's your first job. It isn't to go out a song, or it isn't to play anything really like super cool. The first power chord song I tried to learn was Paranoid by Black Sabbath, and it was a nightmare. I had to like step back and figure out what was going on in my power chord life. So you got that, and then after a while, just keep the strumming steady. You can do that. Then move up 2 frets. That's all I'm doing. And to slide between them, it's like moving a capo. You would never try and move a capo like this. There's too much tension. Well, you pressing down the strings, that's like a capo too, really. And relax the grip, move up 2 frets and press. Like that. And get used to the feel. So that would be the tip to start with power chords. Songs I'd recommend would be More Than a Feeling by Boston. That gets you moving around. That'd be a good one. So break that down into the movements, and all the time my thumb is down. Another nice one is 8 Mile by Eminem. So I'm on the 5th fret. Then I move my pinky up a fret, which technically isn't a power chord, but and back. Okay, so that's a bit on power chords. That will get you started. I could talk on power chords all night. Then the next thing is lost motivation. Yeah, somebody got onto me and they're saying I've lost motivation and how do I stay motivated? Now, I do have a video done for that. I'll link it below in the description below. But very briefly, a bit about motivation. A lot of the times we lose motivation because we're unclear as to whether we're making progress or not. And we mightn't be having much fun. Like it is tricky to motivate yourself to do something that isn't fun, that you're not sure is it worth doing. So when it comes to it, for motivation, the first thing I say is don't put on a YouTube motivational video, because at the end of the day you could get all pumped up, like you could watch Tony Robbins, but if you're unclear as to like what you're going to go and practice, you'll be motivated and You'll be a motivated, unclear player. So I definitely feel that motivation comes from getting clearer on what it is you want to do on the instrument. It gets clear from knowing that some people are internally referenced. That means that they're basing their motivation on their own perception of whether it's good enough for their standards, their own internal standards. Those are the people that if they finish a gig and somebody goes, that was a great gig, and the person has their own mind made up, they're like, it wasn't really, I didn't think it was. Whereas somebody who's externally referenced, somebody who finishes a gig and then they walk off the stage going, what did you think about the gig? What did you think about the gig? What did you think? And it's when they get all the feedback, that's when they'll make up their mind. So your motivation, it can be up to you to motivate yourself or to be around friends who'll help you with it. So this dog has stopped. God, you're probably hearing a bit of that in the background. So just to stay motivated can be an unrealistic goal. We're not all like, I'm not motivated every single day to produce YouTube videos, or I'm not always motivated to, like, let's say, teach at the highest level possible, because I'm a human being. We've up and down days. But the big question is, and again this goes back to quality questions, how can you stay motivated enough to continue to make progress so that when you look back in a month from where you are now than where you were a month ago, that you can look back and go, you know what, I am making progress. And that can motivate you. But definitely give yourself some days off. Give yourself some days where you go, I'm just not feeling it today, but I'm going to show up and practice anyways. That's the key thing, discipline. What Jim Rohn said before, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. So let's say you have two players and they're here, and next thing one player doesn't feel like practicing and they don't, or they don't feel like practicing but they make themselves do it, and the one here doesn't feel like practicing so they don't. Now in the beginning you won't notice too much difference between both, but as time goes on, one ends up getting better, the other ends up dipping until I've seen it happen. Players then meet up months later and they go, geez, your man's really good, he must be talented. And I talked about this with another teacher. I don't believe in talent. I believe some people find things more naturally than others, and there's nurture as well. But seriously, the players who I've met who have completely owned guitar, who have like completely taken that wooden piece of strings and just absolutely owned their playing on it and blew people away, are players who put in the time on days they didn't feel like it. So here's the thing I'd suggest for you. Don't even aim to be motivating yourself all the time. Aim to promise yourself that you're going to show up and do the work even on the days you don't feel motivated. But be clear on what that work is. That's the thing. If you sit down with no plan and you kind of play about, you'll make a bit of progress. But again, you'll be looking, wondering, and then you might be saying, I don't really feel motivated and I don't know why. So, hope that answers it. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Thank you for the questions, and this video will be left up here afterwards. And I'll just check, is there anything else in the chat? No, I think we're good. All right, well listen, thanks so much. Hopefully we get to do this again. If you're catching the replay, let me know if you've enjoyed this. Let me know if you'd like to see more lives done. I've certainly enjoyed it. It's been really good to answer questions live on air. So thanks for watching, and do remember that if you're watching this and you want the notes, email me, Dave@Guitarico. I will share this with you. I have a lot of players on my email list, and I send them lots of tips and lots of strategies and behind the scenes videos as to what's going on here as I'm teaching in Ireland. So I'd only love to help you with your playing. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you soon.